Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. If you're an e-commerce seller shipping small, lightweight goods, whether you're selling on Amazon, eBay, Shopify, or Etsy, well, you really need to consider this an urgent briefing. We are breaking down a massive, recently implemented shift in postal economics, and it literally directly targets your thinnest margin items.
Okay, let's dive into this. The absolute most dangerous rate hikes are the ones that don't even announce themselves as price increases at all. On July 12th, 2026, the USPS implemented this completely unannounced structural rewrite of exactly how packages under £1 are priced. Basically, they quietly deleted that nice little discount you used to get for shipping lightweight items.
And for a certain subset of your shipments, this restructure pushes the cumulative 2026 cost increase to a staggering 54%. Just wow. If you've been sitting there wondering why your bottom line is shrinking on the exact same sales volume this quarter, well, this right here is why. It's absolutely crucial we understand this threat immediately so we can actually fix it. All right, here's our agenda for today. We're going to cover 1. The sneakiest rate hike. 2. The rural zip trap. 3. The real coast-to-coast math. 4. Who actually pays this? And finally, 5. The margin protection playbook. So let's jump right into part 1. The sneakiest rate hike. We really need to be crystal clear here. This wasn't just some simple percentage bump. Sellers have actually taken 3 consecutive hits in 2026. Back in January, Ground Advantage base rates went up an average of 7.8%. Then in April, the USPS bolted on this 8% temporary surcharge that's going to stick around until January 2027. But July was different. While it advertised an 11.8% average increase, it permanently collapsed the entire pricing tier structure for lightweight goods. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the mechanics of this change quietly inflate your costs behind the scenes. First, the USPS dropped the dimensional, or DIM, divisor from 166 down to 139. That is a 16% reduction right out of the gate. Plus, they now round your package dimensions up to the next whole inch. So if you've got a 12.2-inch box, well, that's now billed as a 13-inch box. This whole combination forces higher billable weights and significantly higher costs on those previously cheap lightweight packages. Moving right along to section 2, the rural zip trap. This is where those vanishing tiers completely change your economics based solely on destination. So historically, if your item was light, it was cheap to ship, right? Ground Advantage had 4 nice sub-pound tiers, up to 4 ounces, 8 ounces, 12 ounces, and 15.99 ounces. But after July 12th, those bottom 3 tiers just completely evaporated for certain destinations. Today, a tiny 4-ounce phone case and a heavy 15.99-ounce bottle of supplements cost the exact same amount to ship to a rural buyer. You're paying the top-tier rate no matter how light the item actually is.
And here is the blast zone for this change. This penalty is entirely destination-based. The vanishing ounce tiers hit packages going to rural zip codes, Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and military addresses like APO, FPO, and DPO. Basically, if your customer lives in one of these locations, your featherweight discount has been completely deleted. Poof, gone.
But hey, there is a silver lining here. If you use below commercial shipping platforms, and honestly most smart sellers do, contiguous non-rural addresses actually keep those lower tiers. So if you're shipping that same 4-ounce phone case to an urban apartment in Chicago, you can still access the old, cheaper tier pricing. The danger lies entirely in those rural and offshore orders.
All right, on to section 3, the real coast-to-coast math.
Let's move to and see how this builds. We'll step away from the abstract rules and look at the concrete financial reality here, because this dollar cost builds brutally across the year. Let's take a 4-ounce package shipping from New York City to LA, a Zone 8 shipment. Before 2026, you were paying about $5.46. After the January base hike, it bumped to $5.89. The April surcharge brought it to $6.36. But look at July 12th. Because that 4-ounce package now bills at the $15.99-ounce rate, the price balloons to $8.40. Guys, this isn't a gradual climb, it is an overnight surge. Through July 11th, you paid $6.36. On July 12th, for the exact same service, shipping the exact same 4-ounce weight to the exact same rural buyer, you suddenly paid $8.40. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is a single-step increase of $2.04. That represents a massive 32.1% overnight jump.
Think about it. If you are selling a $12 item with a $3 profit margin, a surprise $2.04 postage increase completely destroys the profitability of that sale. There's just no way around it.
Which brings us to Section 4. Who actually pays this?
This is vital because the burden falls squarely on whoever is purchasing the Ground Advantage label. If you're a self-shipping seller, meaning Amazon FBM, eBay, Etsy, Shopify, Walmart, you buy the label, which means you take the hit on every single sub-1 pound rural or offshore order. But if you use Amazon FBA, you're actually largely insulated. Amazon uses its own logistics network for outbound orders, and for customer returns, Amazon manages and absorbs those light USPS return labels directly into their FBA economics. So, the crucial point is exactly what this quote highlights right here. While Amazon FBA certainly had its own fee increases earlier in 2026, including a fuel and logistics surcharge in April, there is absolutely no FBA fee increase tied to this July 12th USPS rate structure. FBS sellers are totally shielded from this specific rural trap. This fundamentally changes your strategy depending on your fulfillment method. FBM sellers are now bearing these wild destination-based postage swings. Literally, if a rural buyer clicks purchase, your margin drops. But for FBA sellers, that bundled fulfillment fee now acts as a sort of partial hedge. If you sell a lightweight SKU that skews heavily toward rural buyers, FBA might suddenly be a much more attractive option than it was back in June. All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, the Margin Protection Playbook. Listen, the wait-and-see approach is just going to bleed your business dry, so we need immediate, actionable solutions right now. First up, bulk reprice your light SKUs. Don't go in and edit these one by one. Use bulk uploads to bump your catalog up slightly just to recover this hit. Second, right-size your packaging. Because of those new rounding rules we talked about, every fraction of an inch matters. A snug poly mailer beats a box every time. And third, rerun your carrier comparisons. USPS just isn't always the default winner anymore. But a quick warning here, actually a really important warning. If you switch to FedEx, be super careful with poly bags. FedEx has this hidden $25 additional handling surcharge for soft-sided packs that exceed 18 by 13 by 5 inches. You have got to read the fine print. Next, ensure you're actually buying labels on the correct rate card. You want a platform that passes along below commercial rates, because these platforms preserve those lower ounce tiers for your contiguous, non-rural shipments. We're talking about platforms like Pirate Ship, Shippo, ShipStation, Shipping Easy, and EasyPost. They will all save you money on urban orders compared to published commercial rates. Now, here is a really fascinating loophole. Because rural orders all bill at the top 15.99 ounce tier anyway, you essentially have free weight. And this brilliantly illustrates how you can turn a penalty into an advantage. Adding 11 ounces to a 4-ounce rural package now costs you exactly $0 in extra postage. So use that free weight. Bundle a second item, toss in a sample, or upsell a heavier variant. Just make absolute sure you don't cross that 1 pound mark, or you'll trigger the much higher 1 pound rate. One final defensive move here, and it's all about compliance. The days of just kind of guessing your box sizes, those are over. If you submit wrong dimensions, the USPS is now slapping packages with a $3 dimension non-compliance fee. And on top of that, there is a severe new $50 hazmat fee for improper handling of hazardous materials. Guessing will trigger immediate fees that basically erase whatever profit margin you had left.
So we've seen exactly how this structural shift targets small packages. We've done the coast-to-coast math together, and you now have the playbook to actually fight back. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When those rural orders start rolling in, will you just eat the cost silently, or will you protect your Q4 margins today? The choice is totally yours. Make the adjustments, and let's keep your business thriving.